Alright, hello folks, welcome back. This is Old School Johnny. This is going to be a different version. This is my first attempt at doing like a really good movie review. And this movie review I'm going to do is on the Disney Plus. Yes, I bought the $30 to premium to watch Mulan. So basically I'm going to go on I'm going to go into my 5 things, I review. If you haven't had an opportunity, I'm going to repost my movie grading scale on Instagram and definitely take a peek of it. So first off, let's break it down into plot. What did I think about the plot? The plot in Mulan, I think, is god awful. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. I was highly disappointed in the plot. I found at many points of the movie, and you shouldn't compare the older version to the new version, but I really wanted to because that's what we're going for. We're selling this on the point of being Mulan, and the plot to me can't even get it. I would go a 2 out of 5. It's very slow moving. I mean, it does bring up some points of the old one, but for a general audience, you're kind of losing the feel of it. I really just didn't like the plot. Number 2, my second thing I always like to grade movies on is the scenery. So visually, this movie is cool, but in the original Mulan, it wasn't so much about the fighting, and I felt like in this film here that Disney tried to make us watch like this cool choreographic fighting kind of movie, and the original Mulan again wasn't about that. So I was highly disappointed in the scenery as well, giving this again a 2 out of 5. Now it comes down to visually, or not visually, I apologize, the sound or the music. So not to be a spoiler, but there's not music. So if you're expecting to see the Mulan like you were a kid and to hear these musical numbers, this isn't the film. There's no music involved in this. I can understand with these remakes that Disney wants us to be realistic. However, when made all of these, what made the Disney Renaissance was their ability to use music as a means for you to understand the story, and their use of comedy. The original Mulan, because Eddie Murphy played Mushu, brought this story. You were getting the story, which taught you a lesson, but because it had a comedic side, you were able to learn with the music. The fact that they took it out there and you don't have a strong plot, I think this movie tremendously suffers from that. Likable characters. I mean, I like Mulan. You want to like Mulan, but there's not too many other. The acting is. Because the plot is so bad, I don't think these actors have the ability to even save such a bad plot. And finally, do I like any of the characters? Again, I want to like Mulan, but I mean, I'm not even sure who the main antagonist or villain is in this film. In the original one, we knew it was, Shere Kong, but in this one, we have some lady that's flying around and doing that, and we don't know if it's just all over the place. And this is a quick summation. First of all, if you have your $30, don't buy it. This is the first time I'm ever going to tell someone not to do something, because normally I don't like to tell people what to do, but absolutely don't buy it. I'm really disappointed in what Disney has done. I expect Disney to be a lot better. So I've had this argument with somebody and said, well, old school, I like the film, okay. But to me, most people didn't. If you have an IMDb rating of 5, it's like getting 50 on the test, and you're Disney, and we expect better quality from you. And this is going to be my hot take on this whole thing for Disney is Disney has had a bad year. People will say, well, they still made money, but it's not about making money, because you want these films to be watched later on. No one's going to be watching this film later on. I don't think anyone's going to be watching Aladdin. I don't even think people are going to be watching that remake of The Lion King. Why? Because to me, Disney just believes that they could sell it, get all the money they can from it up front, and we don't have to really worry about quality, which means it's a huge disappointment because we love all these franchises, and I wish Disney would do better. And I believe that Disney's going to continue on this trend, and I wouldn't be surprised in a couple months Warner and Universal or Sony gives Disney a run for their money. In fact, Warner has been on such a good streak of late with this DC fandom event, and what they're doing with DC Comics and trying to get the audience and people so involved in all their characters is something that Disney never has done. Disney rarely listens to its audience. They just shove movies and just put them out and try to squeeze out them every year The Star Wars thing was a mess, a disaster in my hand. I didn't have a huge problem with some of the films, but again, most people didn't like them. And Disney said, we don't care, this is what it is, here you are. I mean, I'm really surprised that they've done so good with Marvel. I just think that's because Disney's yet to really put their hands on it and say, hey, we want to do it. And Marvel's been somewhat of a success, but as far as these remakes go, yeah, they're making money, but at what stake? I mean, later on is doing that. And that's my take on Mulan. And I'm sorry it's so short and sweet, but I have really nothing more to say. I can't really say anything good about it, and I can't really say anything really bad. So that is my short take on Mulan. Thank you.